Hello friends, welcome to Shankar IAS Daily News Analysis. Today's date is 1/3/2024. And one more important announcement friends, Shankar IAS Academy is again coming up with a compilation of most targeted topics starting with geography on March 11. Stay tuned and stay committed and stay focused. Behind me are the list of articles that we are about to discuss today. Without further delay, let's get started. Look at this beautiful image. It shows a gracious Theyyam artist performing a Chakka Kadangkuttu in Makkam Bhagavati temple in Kerala. Now let us see some important facts about Theyyam. See, Theyyam is one of the folk arts in North Kerala. It is a famous ritual art consists of 1000-year-old tradition, rituals and customs. Note that the people consider Theyyam itself as a channel to a god and they thus seek blessing from them. Each Theyyam is a man or a woman who attain divine status by performing heroic deeds or by leading a virtuous life. Mostly, Theyyams are believed to be an incarnation of Shiva or Shakti. Lastly, Theyyams are performed in a sacred groves and other places once in a year and it's called Kaliyatam. Now let us see the characteristics of Theyyam. Firstly, it consists of dance, mime and music. Moreover, the dance is accompanied by the chorus of various musical instruments like Chanda, Vikuchanda, Elathalam and Karunkural. Secondly, let us see about Mudi, which is a key feature of this dance. Note that it is a sacred crown made up of coconut and areca nut slices which are dyed in different colors. Thirdly, each artist represents a hero with a great power. Note that performers wear heavy makeup and adorn flamboyant costumes. Moreover, the costumes are called Theyyakolam and the performer is called Kolakaran. Fourthly, the deities are mainly Mother Goddess, Muchili Bhagavati, and also the heroes are worshipped as Theyyas. For example, Kathivanur Veeran is a hero who is worshipped. It is said that there are about 400 separate Theyyams. Each have their own music, style and even choreography. The most prominent among them are Rakta Chamundi, Kari Chamundi, Muchilottu Bhagavati, Vayanadu Kulavan, Kulikan and Potan. This is all about the discussion about Theyyam. With this, let's move to the next. The news is that Bitcoin has reached over $60,000, breaking its previous record. The introduction of exchange-traded funds for Bitcoins, which happened in the last month, is the key reason for cryptocurrency's impressive performance this year. In our discussion, we shall learn about the basics of cryptocurrency and central bank digital currency. First, let us take us about cryptocurrencies. See, cryptocurrencies are digital or virtual currencies. It allows people to make payments directly to each other through an online system. The cryptocurrencies are secured by a cryptography technology. Note that cryptography refers to a method of storing and transmitting data in a particular form so that only the person to whom the data is intended can read and process it. So we can say that it is much harder to counterfeit a cryptocurrency. See, many cryptocurrencies are decentralized networks that are distributed based on blockchain technology. Note that blockchain technology is a secure and a transparent decentralized database that is tamper-proof. Note one point here, the cryptocurrencies have no intrinsic value and the worth of cryptocurrency simply depends upon its demand in the market. This is in total contrast to the national currencies whose value can also be dependent upon the interference made by the central banks. A defining feature of cryptocurrency is that generally not issued by any central authority. These facts make them literally immune from government interference. Some examples of cryptocurrencies include Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple and Litecoin, etc. That's all about basics of cryptocurrency. Now let's move on to learn about central bank digital currency. CBDC are generally issued by the central bank of a country. See, CBDC are similar to cryptocurrencies, but there is one difference. CBDC is a legal tender and it is issued by the central bank, unlike cryptocurrencies which are decentralized. Moreover, the value of cryptocurrency is determined based on the demand in the market. Despite its similarity to cryptocurrency, the value of CBDC is fixed by the central bank and its value is almost equivalent to the country's fiat money. In addition, CBDC is exchangeable one-to-one with the fiat currency. Now let's discuss about the pros and cons of CBDC. First, let's see the pros. The CBDC will reduce the printing of paper currency. This in turn reduces the paper usage and decreases the deforestation process. CBDC can generally bring a shift towards a virtual currency by reducing currency handling costs. Also, the cross-border payments can be made easier with CBDC and can be made more transparent. Now coming to the disadvantages, Providing digital currency would require bank to maintain a huge data, so it may cause operational burden and associated high cost to the bank. Apart from this, cyber threat can also pose a serious challenge in providing CBDC. The outdated technology of our banking system is also a challenge in moving towards CBDC. Moreover, many people in India are still not aware of using the internet, so bringing the digital currency would exclude those categories of people. These are some of the disadvantages of CBDC. China has recently issued world's first digital currency called Digital Renminbi or ERMB. India has also launched its CBDC called e-rupee in 2022. See, RBI has divided the digital rupee in two categories. One is called retail e-rupee and other one is called wholesale CBDC. Here, retail e-rupee is an electronic version of cash, primarily meant for retail transaction. It can be used by anyone and can provide access to safe money for payment and settlements. On the other hand, wholesale CBDC is restricted to selected financial institutions. It is available only for financial transactions involving government securities and interbank transactions. That's all about cryptocurrencies and CBDC. With this, let's move to the next article. Look at this front page of Indian Express article. The Indian government has said yes through 3 big projects for making electronic chips. One of these projects is especially exciting because it's going to be India's first place for making these chips from the scratch. And Tata Group is doing it with a company from Taiwan called PowerChip. This could help India become a more important player in the world of technology and creating lots of jobs. In this context, let us understand India's semiconductor mission through our mains answer writing approach. First, let us look at the syllabus. It comes under GS Paper 3 of Mains. Let me read out the question for you. Discuss the significance and the opportunities of India's semiconductor mission in the context of the country's technological advancement and self-reliance in the semiconductor industry. Assess the potential challenges associated with the mission and suggest the measures to ensure its successful implementation. Here, we need to divide the body of the answer into 3 parts. Discuss about the mission's significance and opportunities. Second, about the challenges. And third, about the measures. Let's begin with the answer writing. First, give the brief introduction about the semiconductor and connect it with the India's mission. For example, semiconductors are the fundamental component of all the modern electronics from smartphones to electric vehicles. India's semiconductor mission will help us to achieve India's broader goals of becoming a global hub for semiconductor and display manufacturing, as well as enhancing its position in the global electronic supply chain. This could be your introduction. Then moving on to the body part. First, let us talk about the significance of this mission. These are the points below. Firstly, by developing its own semiconductor manufacturing capabilities, India aims to reduce its dependency on foreign suppliers, especially China, Taiwan, etc., which is crucial for national security, economic stability, and technological independence. Secondly, this mission is expected to boost the domestic electronic manufacturing sector that not only satisfies the local demand but also India's position as an exporter of electronic goods. Thirdly, this mission fosters innovation and the development of indigenous intellectual property in the semiconductor domain. This helps the startups providing access to the electronic design automation tools and facilitating technological transfer. Fourthly, the mission may attract investments in the semiconductor sector from both domestic and international players. This influx of capital will create job opportunities, thereby contributing to the economic growth and skill development in high-tech industries. Fifthly, semiconductors play a vital role in defense and strategic sectors through a secured and reliable access to critical technologies, reducing vulnerabilities associated with the reliance on the foreign supplies. Now, we can move to the second part, that is the potential challenges of this mission. Firstly, the semiconductor manufacturing process is incredibly capital intensive, requiring investments in billions of dollars. State-of-art fabrication plants involves high upfront costs, including sophisticated equipment and clean room facilities. Secondly, semiconductor manufacturing and design requires a high-skilled workforce, including engineers and technicians with specialized knowledge. Thirdly, a robust and reliable supply chain for raw materials, specifically chemicals, gases and manufacturing equipments is crucial. India needs to develop or secure access to these supply chain, which are currently dominated by other countries. Fourthly, the global semiconductor industry is dominated by the countries like USA, Taiwan and South Korea. competing with these established players will be challenging, especially in terms of technological transfer, intellectual property rights, and capturing market share. Fifthly, semiconductor technology is rapidly evolving with continuous advancement in the material science, nanotechnology, and electronic design automation tools. Keeping pace with these advancements requires a strong emphasis on research and development and a culture of innovation. This can be the second part of the answer. Now moving on to the measures, we can give these points. Firstly, we need to forge alliance with global semiconductor leaders for technological transfer, expertise sharing, and joint ventures to accelerate the development of the domestic industry. Engage in diplomatic efforts to ensure access to the global supply chain and the markets. Secondly, focus on financial incentives, including subsidies, tax breaks, and grants to attract domestic and foreign investment in semiconductor manufacturing and design. Thirdly, making investment in education and training programs, particularly in STEM, that is, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field. Fourthly, establish a special economic zone specifically for semiconductor manufacturing with a streamlined regulatory approvals. Fifthly, increase funding for R&D in semiconductors, encouraging public-private partnership to innovate and develop cutting-edge technologies. Set up a dedicated semiconductor research center and innovation hubs in collaboration with academic institutions and industry players. Sixthly, invest in developing the required infrastructure such as reliable power supply, water, and logistics to support semiconductor fabs or fabrication institutions. With this, let us move on to the conclusion part. In the context of global supply chain vulnerabilities exposed by COVID-19 pandemic, India's semiconductor mission is a timely and a strategic initiative. It will not only position the country as a key player in the global semiconductor industry, but also contribute to the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. This can be your conclusion. With this, let's move to the next article. Look at this article. The NBFC microfinance institutions in India are urging the RBI to increase the household income limit for microfinance loans from the current 3 lakhs level to 5 lakh level. This request is based on the evolving financial needs of individual borrowers, and that comes after observing an increase in the average microfinance loan size. In this context, let us study in detail about NBFC and microfinance rules and regulation from prelims perspective. So what is NBFC? A NBFC is a financial institution registered under Companies Act. They are engaged primarily in lending, investment in securities, leasing, hire purchase, and insurance. They play a crucial role in broadening access to financial services, enhancing competition and diversification in financial sectors. However, it does not involve in agriculture, industrial activities, or even in real estate. So how does it differ from banks? Let us now discuss. See, NBFC and banks both operate in financial sector, offering similar services like lending and investment. However, there are differences. Unlike banks, NBFC cannot accept demand deposits, which are the deposits that can be withdrawn by the depositors at any time without any notice. NBFC are not a part of payment and settlement system and therefore cannot issue checks to their customers. Deposits in NBFC do not have the insurance cover provided by the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation, which is available to the bank depositors. Let us now move on to discuss more about the regulations involved. Note that all NBFC are registered by RBI to operate, requiring a certificate of registration and a minimal net owned funds of 2 crore since April 1999. Some categories like venture capital funds, stock broking companies, and insurance companies are exempted from the RBI registration. Certain types of NBFCs are regulated by other statutory bodies like housing finance companies are regulated by National Housing Bank, and insurance companies are regulated by IRDA or accepted from the registration within RBI. This approach avoids dual regulations and ensures a focused supervisory framework specific to the activities of these financial entities. Now we shall understand about the microfinance loans and its regulation in India. So what is microfinance loan? See, a microfinance loan is defined as a collateral-free loan given to the households with an annual income of up to 3 lakh level. This aim is to provide a financial inclusion and access to financial services for low-income households. These microfinance loans are given only by the regulated entities. These include commercial banks but except payment bank, urban and state cooperative banks, district central cooperative banks, and all non-banking financial companies, including microfinance institution and housing finance companies. Regulated entities must have a policy approved by their board that outlines the pricing of microfinance loans. This includes setting a ceiling on the interest rates and all other applicable charges. Regulated entities are required to disclose all the pricing related to the information to the potential borrowers in a simplified, standardized fact sheets, ensuring the transparency. Also note few important points regarding the penalties involved in microfinance loans. Firstly, borrowers can repay their loans before the due date without any penalty. Secondly, any penalty for late payment must only be applied to the overdue amount, not to the total amount. Thirdly, borrowers must be informed in advance about any changes in the interest rates that are applicable in the future. With this, let us move on to the next article. Look at this article. Russian president warns of using nuclear weapons in the ongoing Ukraine war. While giving the presidential address, Putin warns the Western countries of nuclear retaliation if they send troops to fight in Ukraine. This is the crux of the article. In this context, we shall understand about the New START Treaty from the prelims perspective. So what is the New START Treaty? New Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty or New START Treaty is the last remaining arms reduction pact between USA and USSR. Note that this treaty caps the number of nuclear warheads that can be deployed by Russia and USA to 1,550. This treaty came into force on 5th February 2011. Then it was extended through various negotiations and planned to be continued till February 4, 2026. But Russia had decided to suspend the agreement in February 2023. As we have discussed already, this was the last arms reduction pact which existed between the erstwhile Cold War countries. As we have discussed already, this was the last arms reduction pact which existed between the erstwhile Cold War countries. Now let us move on to see the provisions of New START Treaty in brief. Firstly, with respect to ICBM, both agreed to 700 deployed intercontinental ballistic missiles, deployed submarine-launched ballistic missiles, and deployed heavy bombers equipped with nuclear armaments. Secondly, with the nuclear warhead, both are agreed to 1,550 nuclear warheads. Thirdly, there will be 800 deployed and non-deployed ICBM launchers and heavy bombers equipped with nuclear armaments. Moreover, the treaty provides for 18 on-site inspection per year for both US and Russian inspection teams. Lastly, let's move on to see the efficacy of the treaty. Since the enforcement of the treaty, two parties have conducted 328 on-site inspection, exchanged 25 311 notifications, held 19 meetings of bilateral consultative commission, etc. Moreover, they held 42 biannual data exchanges on strategic offensive arms subject to the treaty. That's all for the discussion. This news article talks about disqualification of 6 Congress legislators who had cross-voted in favor of BJP in the recent Rajya Sabha polls. In our discussion, we shall see about the provisions of disqualifications of MPs and MLA. As both are more or less similar, we are going to cover the general points which are governing it. Moreover, we shall cover the provisions in the Constitution and the statute separately for our understanding. Under the Constitution, a person shall be disqualified as a MP or MLA under the following condition. Firstly, if he holds any office of profit under a union or a state government. Secondly, if he is of unsound mind as declared by the court. Thirdly, she or he is an undischarged insolvent. Fourthly, if he is not a citizen of India or voluntarily acquired a citizenship of a foreign state. Finally, if he or she is so disqualified under any law made by the Parliament. In addition to the above provision, Parliament have enacted various additional disqualification in the Representation of People Act 1951. Let us see them in a brief. He must not have been found guilty of any certain election offences or corrupt practices in the election. He must not have conceived any offences resulting in imprisonment for more than 2 years. He must not have failed to lodge an account of his election expenses within time. He or she must not have any interest in the government contracts, works or services, or even a director in a corporation in which government has at least 25% share. He or she must not have been dismissed from government services for corruption or disloyalty towards the state. He or she must not have been convicted for promoting enmity between different groups. And lastly, he must not have been punished for preaching and practicing social crimes like untouchability, dowry, and sati. Note an important point that on the issue of disqualification for the discussed provisions, the decision of the President is final. Finally, a MP or MLA can be disqualified on the grounds of defection under the various provisions of the 10th schedule. Here, I have given the grounds of disqualification under 10th schedule in this image. You can have a look. This is all about the discussion. With this, we can move to the next. Let's now discuss today's MCQs. Question number 1. The New START Treaty was in news recently. Consider the following statement. Option A. It is a bilateral strategic nuclear arms reduction treaty between USA and Russian Federation. Option B. It is a multilateral energy security cooperation treaty among the members of East Asia Summit. Option C. It is a treaty between Russian Federation and European Union for the energy security and cooperation. Option D. It is a multilateral cooperation treaty among the BRICS country for the promotion of trade. The correct option is option A. Question number 2. Consider the following pairs of folk dances and respective states. Garba, Gujarat; Mohiniyattam, Odisha; Yakshagana, Karnataka. Which of the above pairs are marked correctly? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 and 3 only. Option C, 1 and 3 only. Option D, 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Question number 3. Consider the following statements. The Constitution of India provides for the disqualification of MB if convicted in the criminal cases. Statement number 2. The decision of Speaker in the cases related to the 10th schedule is final and cannot be challenged. Consider the following statements. Select the correct statement using the codes given below. Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, both 1 and 2. Option D, neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is D, neither 1 nor 2. Statement 1 is wrong because Representation of People's Act 1951 mandates that MP can be disqualified if convicted in a criminal case. Statement 2 is wrong as the decision of Speaker is open to judicial review under Quixote-Olohan case. Question number 4. Which of the following statements are correct regarding NBFC in India? Statement 1. NBFC can accept demand deposit similar to commercial banks. NBFC are required to be registered under RBI and maintain a minimum net owned funds. Statement 3. Deposits in NBFC are insured by DICGC, that is, Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. Which of the above statements are correct? Option A, 1 and 2 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, 2 and 3 only. Option D, 1, 2 and 3. And the correct answer is option B, 2 only, because it does not accept demand deposits. Statement 3 is incorrect because it is not insured. Behind me is the today's mains question. Interested candidates can write it in the comment section below. If you do like the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.